loves the Jaces, loves the Sphinx's Revelations, and here we go. We are already into the match. We have a search for Azcanta facing off against just an Opt. Huge advantage to Dylan already. This enchantment is so powerful. And oh, look at this. Look at this. Search v search. Both players picking up the Opt, which is kind of interesting. Usually, you know, in these kind of decks, we've seen Serum Visions historically. But both players going for the Opt. Maybe they just won him at Friday Night Magic and wanted to play with him. That's pretty reasonable. Of course, Opt helps fill the graveyard for Search for Azcanta. Not as well as a card like Thought Scour, but still pretty good. Usually Search for Azcanta in these decks is something like a 2 of. So it's not like you're going to change your entire cantrip base just to Search for Azcanta a little earlier. We see Dylan here, who's on the bottom, snapping and opting. Not trying to save the Snapcaster Mage for any huge advantage. You know, he's not trying to like play it on a counter war and flashback a counter spell. No. He's just getting a beater on the board. Yeah, it takes a card out of his graveyard for Search for Azcanta. But this 2/1's going to have to be dealt with and will then be a card in his graveyard. So, really kind of parity there. When's the Angry Hobo TJ's event going to be? I would love that format to get big. I'm going to write that down to explain to y'all later what Angry Hobo is. Great format. Great format. Thanks for bringing that up, Josh. Address that during a break. Spell Snare finds a Snapcaster. Great use of it. And wow, look at this Ensnaring Bridge. That's a weird one. In the main deck of the blue-black control deck. Definitely not what Anthony expected to see. I mean, usually blue-black control decks, blue-white control decks, they lean on stuff like Supreme Verdict, Wrath of God, Damnation. Or just like push, snap, push, right? Interesting that Dylan even played this card out. It will stop Celestial Colonnade a bit later. But that's a long way away. Entreat the Angels. So 2 4/4 Angels from Dylan, taken care of by that Damnation, that aforementioned Damnation. Dylan not even going to mess around. He's like not even going to give Anthony the chance to say like bounce Ensnaring Bridge. Here we go. Dylan puts the Polluted Delta in his graveyard, flips the Azcanta. He's going to get 1 use out of that before it gets Field of Ruined. Unless, of course, he's packing something crazy like Disallow, which I do highly doubt. He had a backup search for Azcanta, which makes a lot of sense. So, search for Azcanta, a little counter war fought over it, negate counter squall. Interesting that Dylan gets no use out of That as Kanta the Sunken Ruin. I do kind of question him casting the Search. Right? Because casting the Search and having a counter war basically means that he didn't get a single use out of the Azcanta. I would have liked to have perhaps seen him wait one turn on casting the next Search. Dylan keeps keeps Inquisition on top. Gonna Inquisition Anthony before he tech edges. And we see a similar play pattern here where interaction is forced and thus Azcanta not getting used. I almost question the sequencing of both of these players here. Since the Field of Ruin is in play, like, you know, the Field of Ruin's in play for one, the Tech Edge is in play for the other. You just have to assume that they're going to use it immediately. So why not sculpt your turn so that you at least get one usage out of it, right? Like, if you think your mana might be tied up on your turn, well, then don't flip the Azcanta. Wait until wow, okay, forget what I'm saying. Look at this Planeswalker. Oh my god. Oh my god, Anthony brainstorms into another Jason a counter spell. Oh. That might just be all she wrote here. Anthony discarding due to hand size, while Dylan casts do nothing artifacts. That's painful. Dillion click from Anthony. This one, all over but the crying here. I mean, really active Jace. Anthony is upticking it at this point. He needs no more card advantage. Hell, he's discarding to hand size. All over but the crying. Let's watch Dylan suffer, shall we? Hey, Zach. The face of a suffering man. He says, yep. All right. Yep, that one card in hand, still a fatal push. Unfortunate for Dylan. Has to lose slowly and painfully. You'll see his library exiled soon. He will need runner, 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 runner. And I'm not sure there are that many cards left in his deck. Dylan's deck mostly focused on board control and planeswalkers. He's trying to hide behind an ensnaring bridge while Ashiok works, Jace works, while he counters spells, while he gets incremental advantage with Azcanta. But really, if his opponent is not trying to fight on the axis of attacking with creatures, these spots devoted to 4 ensnaring bridge really are not looking good. And he packs it in. So looking ahead to sideboards. Shout out, by the way, to all 18 of you. I really appreciate you tuning in. There are so many things you could be doing right now. On Twitch, on the internet, outside, anywhere. And you're choosing to be here with me. I really appreciate that. And if there's anything that you want to see, any ways that I could improve this stream, either right now or in the future, let me know, please. I mean, on Facebook, in the Twitch chat, whatever. Criticism is much appreciated. Looking at the sideboards, I have to look up a card in Dylan's sideboard. Forgive me, folks, for not knowing what Silumgar's command does off the top of my head. Choose 2. Counter target non-creature spell. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. -3/-3. And destroy target planeswalker. Oh my god. This card's alright. You know, if Anthony resolves Jace, he can go, okay, end of turn, bounce your colonnade, destroy your Jace. And yeah, maybe it gets countered, but then Dylan gets to untap and do what he wants to do on his turn. That's pretty cool. So he's got access to that 1 Silumgar's command. Cards he'll definitely want. The Counter Squall. Probably the Surgicals. At least like 1, maybe 2. Probably not all 3. And the Pithing Needle, right? Like Pithing Needle in a mirrorish match is awkward. You like don't want to name your own cards. But at the same time, if they ever resolve Jace, you just got to do it. So you'll have a smattering of cards, right? You'll have like a Silumgar's, a Counter Squall, Surgicals. Board out, obviously. He's boarding out his Fatal Pushes and Damnations and stuff like that. Ensnaring Bridges. Actually, he has a lot to board out. 3, 6, like 10 cards that are easy board outs. So maybe we'll even see him bring in something suboptimal like Collective Brutality. Definitely not what he wants, but he might have to. Anthony, on the other hand, his sideboard is much more varied. Honestly, as it should be, in a deck with like Azcanta, in a deck with Snapcaster, in a deck with Opt. You want the max amount of options here. So he'll bring in, like the Crucible, the Celestial Purge, if he somehow knows that Dylan is on Planeswalkers, Lilies, and Ashioks, but that seems unlikely, that he knows that. Dispels, Vendilion. Anthony doesn't have much. He'll have more to board out than he has to board in, which might result in some awkward board-ins, like a Disenchant, Timely Reinforcement, just like weird stuff. You know, because he knows he doesn't want the Wrath, the Terminuses. So as the players shuffle up, I'm trying to think myself, like, who's favored here post-board. And I really don't know, because Anthony's deck is better pre-board, of course, as we saw. He has 5 really powerful planeswalkers, and so does Dylan. But like Ashiok is much less impactful in a deck with no creatures than like Teferi from Anthony. So post-board, I think it's going to be pretty even. Going to come down to the luck of the draw and, of course, play skill, which it always does. Paul Walker, risen from the grave. Thanks for joining us. We had about 40 players today, which honestly, the day of a Grand Prix in Vegas, which I know some of our players are at, on a beautiful June day, I'm not upset with 40 players. That's all right. I know these events are going to be in the doldrums, and once we build up to our 10K in October, that's when we're going to start seeing a lot more players at these Titaniums. Until then, these events remain incredible value, right? Like you can win $400 in a 40-person tournament. You just have to come in first place in a 40-person tournament. Or maybe like you top 8 and split and like quadruple or quintuple your money just for going like 4-1-1 into the top 8. We're going to see a Thoughtseize from Dylan. He takes away the opt. Anthony really did not keep a strong hand. I mean, it's not a mull. You have a think twice and an opt. It's not a mulligan. But it's not a strong hand. And interesting, did Dylan choose to go second? It sure seems to me like Anthony led on Flooded Strand and Dylan went untapped Thoughtseize. Very curious. Ooh, a Pithing Needle from Dylan. This is an interesting one. Turn 2 Pithing Needle is curious. Not a usual Pithing Needle. Perhaps he knows that Anthony has Teferi in his deck. I don't think we peeped at game 1, but maybe he knows. And here we go. Here's that little awkward disenchant we talked about. And here we see Anthony's hand, 3 lands. He's got to think twice in the yard. But for now, he's got land, land, land. So Dylan in the driver's seat, all the information. Let's see if he has a Planeswalker to punish him. Wow, he doesn't even have a 3rd land. So this is just fine for Anthony. He has all the time in the world to draw out of this. And wow, only discard spells. Completely misses here. Let's see if Anthony fires off the miss. The Cryptic, I do believe that was. Instead, he'll just flash back to think twice. And Dylan missing again. draws another opt. Very awkward here. Letting Anthony build his mana base. He would have loved to press his advantage with a 2-mana walker. As Collective Brutality is Cryptic. Counter draw. Cryptic is Surgical Extraction. Interesting. Dylan doing the best he can with very little mana here. Really unfortunate for him. He's gone through like 15 cards in his deck and seen 2 lands, maybe 16, 17. As Cryptic is Surgical, he really hoped to catch some in Anthony's hand. The 3 Cryptics removed with the Surgical, and you have to hope for Dylan's sake that Pithing Needle named Jace the Mind Sculptor. And yeah, Paul Walker, I get it. I get it, man. It's a beautiful weekend in June. This is the heat of the summer. This is the time to be doing stuff. Magic tournaments always at their lowest point in the summer. That is a given. I don't blame you for not being here. And believe me, if I wasn't here, you better believe I'd be outside doing something. There's the Jace, but yeah. Jace. Opt is met with Opt here. This is cute. Opt's going back and forth. Everyone loves that FNM Opt. Anthony untaps with all his mana available. Let's see what he can do with it. He has such a crazy mana advantage here. 4 mana, snap, disenchant. Jace is online. That 1 disenchant in Anthony's sideboard coming up huge here. He says go. This is ugly. None of these cards do anything. Ashiok, very useless. So this was draw step. So Dylan will draw a replacement card, but only 1. He could always just attack that Jace down, right? That's probably what I would do here. He opts not to. Teferi, ouch. Ouch. Let's take a look at Dylan again. And my apologies for not being able to show you Anthony. I will absolutely have that camera issue fixed for you right after this round's over. Take a short break in between rounds and go take care of that. I'll tell you right now, I'll describe him for you since we can't see him. He's got his game face on, a glasses, goateed man. Not giving anything away. Flicking his cards like a Brian Kibler or a Brad Nelson. This is all over but the crying. Do you guys usually scoop in this spot? Or do you play it out? Do you make them kill you? Or do you just concede and go get a piece of pizza? For me, it really depends on my mindset, right? Like, if I have my game face on, if I'm there to play, if I really want to just get as much magic as I can, I'll play it out. But most cases, I'll just want to walk it off, you know? Dylan, though, I could tell this morning when I saw Dylan that he really wanted to play today. You know, he came up, he asked me, like, what do you think about this sideboard? What's the metagame like here? You know, I saw him asking other people as well, so really wanted to do well today. Luckily for him, this is not a single elimination tournament. He will not be out. And since it's only about 40 people, he'll have an easy time making the top 8 if he just hits a nice little win streak here. Depends on the pizza. Good answer. Good answer. Dylan gonna deploy his last card in hand. He's gonna opt. Searching for his 6th land, maybe. And there's the scoop. There's the handshake. Congratulations to Anthony. Condolences to Dylan. Fortunately for him, he just had the slightly worse control deck configuration. That in the mirror, that is. His deck very well might be better against a creature deck, right? He constructed it as such. He had 4 ensnaring bridge in the main deck. Fatal Push often better than Path to Exile. Ensnaring Bridge often better than Wrath of God. Background there, you can see TJ Collectibles. The stalwart Nick Elaine eating some food after round 1. Maybe some victory food, maybe some condolence food, or some consolation food, I should say. Not sure. Brian Kelly to the right of Dylan. TJ's Luminary, longtime player. Person who's missing, of course, is you. You could be here, playing some Modern Magic. Also, person missing is me. Where the hell am I? Why aren't I playing Modern? Oh, there I am. What's up, everybody? In case you forgot what my shiny ball dome looked like, here I am for you. Casting here for you. Love it. Love coming to TJ's and doing some commentary. Love seeing some of the most fun players in New England here. New England, exaggerating a little bit. Massachusetts, here to play some Modern. Love watching Ben Riley play. Love watching Kevin Liu play. Love watching Andrew Chetty play. Love watching a lot of these guys play. And I love watching Dylan Sparks play now, too, since, he's playing Ensnaring Bridge Blue-Black Control. That was pretty cool. Last time I saw him play on camera, he was playing Mill. Much less competitive, I think. So since, I am going to take a little break and fix my camera, fix my glare, just get a couple things perfected for round 2, but we still have a lot of time left in the round. So until then, I wanted to ask y'all what you think the best deck in Modern is. It's a question it's like almost a moot point, right? Because it just doesn't matter. Because Burn could be the best deck in Modern, and in a 40-person tournament, it could just never show up. It could be 2 people playing Burn just because they didn't want to play Burn, even if it's the best deck. So it almost doesn't matter, and I get that, but I want to know. I want to know what y'all think the best deck in Modern is. A lot of people would say it's Jeskai. I hate playing Jeskai myself. But people think it's the best, John Rossum types. It's probably at the Grand Prix, not here at TJ's. Even though, to be honest with you, his EV here at TJ's might be more than his EV at the Grand Prix. So, just saying. People like Jeskai, people talk about these blue decks, these Celestial Colonnade blue decks. I think they're all right. People talk about Burn. Not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can tell all you in the chat really passionate about this subject, getting 0 responses here. So think about that. Any old school players? Depends what you mean by old school, I guess. Like if you mean old school like old men, well, I'm here. Dylan Sparks just be on the camera looking at me as though I'm going to console him. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching him lose. Just kidding. No, other old school players in the room. Not really. No crazy old school players. We have a Brian Hack here. I don't know how old school he is, but he's definitely experienced. Old school, maybe not. It's hard, Magic's been around for, 25 years now? It's kind of insane to think about that. If an old school player is someone who started, in the first 3 years of Magic, then that person is at least, 35, 40? We love to talk about how you can play Magic your whole life and it's a lifelong hobby, yada, yada, yada. Yes, it is, but, at the same time, when you're 40, do you really have time to come to TJ's on a Saturday? Maybe. But not every weekend. Definitely not every weekend. So it's hard. We have, like I was saying, we have Brian Kelly here. He's probably one of the most old school players. Tom Shea here. He's the tournament organizer. He's one of the most old school players. And I mean, what I'd consider old school, honestly, I'm a little biased. I'd consider myself old school. We're all a product of the era we grew up in, and for me, starting in Exodus, Urza's Saga, to me, that's old school. To some of you watching, maybe that's new school, right? Maybe you started in Unlimited, and I'm like a baby to you. I don't know. But to me, that's old school. I still have my mono red land destruction deck sleeved up at home somewhere with Wake of Destruction, target your forest, kill all your forests. To me, that's old school. I don't know. We don't have a Tom Glevin here. We don't have any other ancient players. Darwin Castle didn't make his way here. But really, I mean, old school is what you define it as. Because for me, I'm old school, and I look out across the room, and I see barely anyone who was playing when I started playing. So I don't know. We don't have any Hall of Famers here. I'll tell you that. And answer your question, Max, I do have a sunburn. I am in a state of perpetual sunburn. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty bad, actually. Wow, that's actually terrible, man. No wonder I had a headache this morning. Yeah, maybe that's not the only reason, but it is a reason. The homemade rum my coworker gave me as an end of the year gift at my school. It's maybe another reason, but you don't have to tell anyone that. So best deck in Modern. Going back to it, it doesn't really matter. I mean, hell, on any given day, Tron could be the best deck in Modern. Excuse me. Honestly, I think Tron would be a really good choice for this tournament. A lot of like blue control. A lot of the format is like slowed down, I feel like, and people aren't gunning for the Urza Tron. They don't like have the crumble to dusts in their sideboard like they maybe used to. So I think like a Nick Furno Tron deck could be really successful on a day like today. Like a green-black Tron, something like that. Green-white, green-red Tron, any of these. That could be good. A deck that wouldn't be good today probably is a deck I played at GP Hartford, Cheerios. Though I'm sure Ben Riley's playing it. That would be a terrible choice today, I think, with all the Jeskai. I think Scapeshift would be a good choice today. I know Nate Piercy, New Hampshire native and TJ's regular Nate Piercy, playing Scapeshift today. He's 1-0, so I'm giving the thumbs up as he went by. That was pretty cool. And yeah, the event has started. We're in between round 1 and round 2. There's about 7 to 8 minutes left in round 1. In about a minute or two, I'm going to take a break and fix my cameras, fix my glare issue, so that we have a better stream. So I'll throw up Be Right Back screen in just a second and go do that. Yeah, this is a Titanium $1,000 cash money tournament. This is Modern. These players are playing for cash and as well as a one-round buy to a $10,000 tournament, a 10K. That's in October 20th in Worcester at the DCU Center. You can check that out on our Facebook page. TJ Titanium Series. Check that out on our Facebook page. That's October 20th. The winner of this tournament gets a one-round buy. And yeah, I was at the RPTQ last week. My good friends Steve Zhang and Pat Flynn, my lifelong friends, they started back when I did a long, long time ago. We practiced really hard for that RPTQ. You know, we did a lot of work. We put in a lot of work, a lot of play testing, and we fell short. You know, we didn't even make top 8. We were 4-1 going into the last round and should have been able to draw in. There were like 5 4-1s, 4 of which drew in. We got paired down against our longtime rival, our old school rival, Tom Gwevin, Brian Sue, and Chris Roy from New Hampshire. And we lost. You know, we lost a heartbreaker. We were the only match in the tournament, round 6, that mattered. Everyone was watching us. All the people that drew into top 8 were watching, and it was a heartbreaker. We lost 2-1. I lost to Chris Roy. Pat lost to Brian Sue. It was pretty brutal. Went home with, like, really heavy hearts that day. So we didn't top 8, but I was happy that my good friends Dave Shields, Adam Snook, Matt Costa, they won the tournament. They top 2'd, as well as Keith Wrong, Kane Rianhard, and Ryan Schumacher, something like that. They also top 2'd, so they got their Pro Tour invites. But I didn't do well. And yeah, Tom Gwevin, seeing Tom Gwevin at a tournament again. If you guys know Tom Gwevin, You'd never forget him. If you were like a Boston area player, New Hampshire area, Worcester area player, you always knew Tom Gwevin. Um, just really, really famous player. He was always known, the like big D20s that we had in the feature match area. Every time he'd sit down, he'd go, okay, high roll, and he'd throw it as high as he could and like catch it and roll it, and hell, who knows? He was probably like looking at your deck while he was doing it. Who knows, right? But famous player, big talker, crazy, crazy dude. I hated to lose to him after 10 years after not seeing him. I hated to lose to him, but it happened. So everyone, I am going to go fix my camera and glare issues. It should only take like 3-4 minutes, so please stick around. I'm just going to throw up a Be Right Back screen with little music in the background. So if you have any questions, let me know in the chat while I go do that. I'll come back a couple minutes before the round starts, talk to y'all. Thanks for watching. Be back real soon.
We good?